afternoon. Welcome. I'm Shirley Labossière. I'm the Acting President and Chief Executive Officer of St.Amant. Thank you for being here today. It's very meaningful for us to be able to get together and talk about the strategic direction. I want to take a moment to acknowledge that we're gathered today on Treaty 1 land. This is the original territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. Now, before we get into the main program, I would invite you to just take a bit of a pause, to just relax, breathe, leave behind all of your work and your to-dos. Our lives are so busy that allowing ourselves to focus on just one thing at a time is a bit of a gift to ourselves and those around us. So let's just take a few minutes to just breathe. Okay, so today we're going to follow a similar format to the other town halls, previous ones. I'll give a bit of corporate updates, and then we'll talk about the strategic plan. I'll go over all of the priorities, as we usually do, but I'll be a little bit quicker on some of them. And then for two of them, we'll just do something a little bit different. So for one of them, we'll have a video, and for the other one, we'll have a presentation by Peter Duff and Todd Mcdonald. Then we'll take a little break. And please take that opportunity to write down your questions at that point in time so that we can answer them after the break. And this time, all of the papers and pens are over there where it says cafe. So if you need a paper and a pen, make sure to grab one. And then after I have answered the questions to the best of my abilities, we'll have a couple of really great interviews. So I just want to begin by thanking you. With so many of you here joining me today in the room or online, I just want to thank each and every employee of St.Amant. None of the work that we do could happen without your incredible commitment and dedication. Every day you make a significant difference in people's lives. It's really important and really meaningful work. We're so fortunate to attract such high-quality staff here. And now I would like to ask the executive team to please stand up and be acknowledged at this time. This team plays a key role in the leadership of the organization, in the delivery of our strategic plan, and of course in supporting all of you. Thank you all for choosing St.Amant. And so before we get to the strategic plan, we'll just do a few updates. I know many of you want to know what's going on with John Leggett. So what we know is he's very busy as the Deputy Minister in the Department of Families. He's working really hard. Many of us have interactions with him in his current role. He has not given us any indication that he's not coming back at the end of his one-year secondment, so we should all assume that he's coming back in June 2020. It's almost halfway through the secondment already. What I can tell you, though, is that the board has begun a process to prepare for the eventual recruitment of a permanent president and CEO, whether that's required next year or in the years following. This is just good planning on the part of our board of directors. We're very fortunate. We have a very supportive and very qualified board of directors. So they're going to go through this process and make sure that we're ready when the time comes. And I can assure you that when that time does come, they'll select a very competent CEO with very strong values, as they did when they hired John. I also want to touch base a little bit about the elections. You might have noticed there was a couple of elections in the fall. The one that can have the most impact on us and on our work and on the disability community is, of course, the provincial election. And as it turned out, same government is in place, Same ministers are responsible for the departments that fund our programs, so it's pretty much business as usual for us. So that's good news. Speaking of the election, though, I can't do that without acknowledging all of the great work of everyone who participated in the Disability Matters vote campaign. There was amazing engagement from our staff, from families. We know that the elected officials heard us. It had a significant impact, influencing the promises that they made regarding the 5 priorities. We're very pleased to see that government is already beginning to move some of those priorities forward. Thank you to each and every one of you, your families, your friends, everyone who participated in the Disability Matters vote campaign. We were heard. Now, let's take a minute to watch a video that was created by CRP staff member Brendan DeFort and his friend Joey Forte, who is a filmmaker in Winnipeg. Okay, now, what about that conference we had last week? Definitely worth taking a moment to celebrate. It was such an inspiring event. People, all kinds of people kept telling me how great it was, just an outstanding conference overall. We had more people in attendance and more people registered than ever before, and all of the sessions were just stellar. I kept hearing that the biggest challenge was trying to figure out which session that people were going to go to. Events like this are a little outside of our regular work, but they go a long way to move forward the human rights and dignity of all people with disabilities. I'm so proud of the incredible engagement on the part of so many of you, the committee members, those of you who presented, and those who attended. Mark your calendars for next year's conference, October the 6th and the 7th, 2020. And now for the strategic plan. You'll likely remember from the spring town hall that this is year 1 of the next 5-year strategic plan. And how we move forward that strategic plan is pretty simple, even though it takes a lot of work. The strategic plan sets out a vision by identifying the priority areas that we're going to focus on. And then each year, the executive team gets together and determines what the goals and objectives are that we feel are achievable for that year, while it helps us move towards the 5-year goals. Once we agree to those objectives, then we develop project plans and assemble some teams, and that's where many of you get involved. And then we work diligently to meet those objectives by the end of the year. And then in the following year, we do it all again until we get to the end of the strategic plan. So we have 6 priority areas. I'll talk about the first and the second together: innovation and capacity building. We're working hard to address unmet needs in our community by being creative in how we deliver holistic, person-centered supports. So what does this look like? Well, for example, one of the projects is going to assess the levels of service that each person needs to ensure that we're not over-serving anyone and encroaching on their independence. So if you're receiving 24-hour care, and you would prefer and are able to manage with less, then we should adjust our services. As a large established agency, we want to reach out and share our information and our knowledge. We recognize that we have a leadership role and responsibility in demonstrating and promoting evidence-based practices to the broader community. We want to lead networking and collaborative projects that will improve the services in the community. A good example right now is a project to map out all of the services currently available to Manitobans with autism across their lifespan, so that we can identify where the gaps are, and hopefully then we can do something about that. This project involves peoples from across the province and from a number of different organizations. The third priority is advocacy. St.Amant sees advocacy as a social responsibility to help inform key decision makers, the general public, about the needs and challenges of persons with disabilities, and those that support them. For this priority, we have a project to connect with our staff to find out how can we help them to better understand what it means to be a good advocate and what's expected from them in their roles. Another important step in the advocacy process is understanding our human rights. This is something that was identified as very important to the Residents' Council here at Health and Transition Services. They've made a video that they'd like to share with you about their rights. So we're going to show you that video now. Another great video, thank you. The fourth priority is communication. What we've learned is that we can never communicate enough. Having said that, we will continue to strive to improve and communicate in a responsible, transparent, and timely manner with the people we support, their families, staff, funders, other agencies, the general public, our partners, other organizations. There's currently 2 projects that we're focusing on. One is to improve communication with our families. We know we still need to do better there, and we're trying to find the means that will work the best with all of the different families. And it's not the same for everyone, and we recognize that, so we're just going to continue to find ways to meaningfully communicate with everyone. And we're also looking to better understand and to support the flow of communication for staff. And so some of that is the communication between shifts. So we know that that's a bit of a challenge, as well as communication between different locations. So we're focusing right now on health and transition services and on the community residential program. Workforce development. This one also was in the last strategic plan. We actively recruit and develop a diverse staff with the right skills and values to provide high-quality service at St.Amant. At the heart of any good health and social service organization is, of course, the people who are doing the great work. In our last strategic plan, we focused on building our leadership team and the framework for training and supporting those leaders. In this plan, we're expanding this to the entire workforce. We know challenges with turnover have implications on the quality of our services. We want to be the best employer and continue to attract the best employees. And the 6th priority is quality of life and lifestyle. And so at this time, I'd like to invite Peter Duff to come and talk about an important project that he's working on.
Thank you, Shirley. And good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? Nice to see you out here, Joe. So I have the privilege of talking to you today a little bit about a project we call the Meaningful Connections Project. And as Shirley mentioned, this falls under the quality of life priority of our strategic plan. Dana, Hope, and I are the co-leads for this project team. And Dana's actually away building her social connection for the next couple of weeks. And so the focus of this project is on trying to build unpaid relationships for people that we support here at St.Amant. There's lots of current research that informs us that the quality and quantity of relationships that we enjoy in our lives directly impacts our physical and mental and emotional well-being. In short, the more connected we are, the happier and healthier we are in our lives. And there's lots of research that backs that up. I had the pleasure of sitting in on a couple of workshops at the CCDDA last week where some of that research was front and center yet again. So it just reaffirms the importance of this project. So we have a project team that is comprised of representatives from all of the program areas that deliver residential services to people, as well as all of the centralized support services. And our 5-year goal is to try and make sure that every person we support residentially who wants to have more connection will have 2 additional unpaid, non-family relationships that have been developed over that time. So that's really exciting, and it's a big goal, and we know it's going to take all 5 years for us to make that happen. Our focus in the first year has really been on developing the foundation for that work to unroll over the next 4 years. So the project team has been focused in the first year on identifying what kinds of training will our staff need in order to be able to facilitate people getting connected to unpaid others. It's focused on what changes will we need to make to our internal processes and policies and procedures so that we are actually encouraging that set of activities. We know that in some respects that may mean that we have to get out of our own way a little bit in terms of allowing people to be connected to unpaid, non-family others. So we're very close on the curriculum piece and on sort of establishing that base level of training and a toolkit to go along with it. And we're hoping that we can start rolling that training out early in the new year to set ourselves up well for year 2 to begin the work of connecting people. So very excited. We have a big project team right now, but we know we're going to need lots of subcommittees. So I encourage you, if you have an interest in that project, to identify yourselves so we can tap into you as a resource and as a source of expertise. And then I'll leave it there, but I would like to invite up Todd Mcdonald to talk to you about another very important kind of relationship.
Hello everybody. Is that too loud? Jan told me to put the mic right here. Anyway, I am excited with all the great work related to quality of life. Peter was talking about meaningful connections. I'm here to talk about something near and dear to me. Thank you for allowing me to speak to this. Anyone that doesn't know me, I'm a dog lover, an intense dog lover. If you haven't seen pictures of my dog, I'll be looking for you later and reviewing those with you and quizzing you on him. What I'm here to talk about is that we talk about some people connect with others, people, it's great. A lot of you connect with animals and pets. Can I see a show of hands? How many of you have a pet at home? A lot of folks out there. So you know how important those pets are in your life and what they mean to you. So in working with the Meaningful Connections Project, I think one of the themes that kept coming up was how important pets are, animals in general. They're important in our lives. It stands to reason that they would can potentially play more of a meaningful role in the lives of people we support. So I know that there's a few people out in the community residential program that already have animals, and I know that they're bringing a lot of joy. There is a dog named Theo right here. If you can see, you should see him. He's quite beautiful, and he's in love with me already. So I will be taking him home, because he clearly appreciates me more than everyone in that whole section. But one of the things that we notice is that when someone brings a pet into work, it's meaningful. And it makes everyone stop. And no matter what's going on, it has one of those mindful moments, one of those really great spots in your day. It can be the best spot in your day. So we just want to grow that and that good feeling. So in recognizing pets as a potential value, meaningful connection, we started a sub-project which is called Pet Project. I know. But it made sense to us, and there's a lot of great people on there. Passionate people, love animals, so it's great. So we're exploring a few different ideas through this project. The first is really exciting. We're reviewing policies, and that's great, but is necessary as a starting point. So we really want to look from a policy perspective on what is possible, how far can we get into this project, and how involved can we bring animals into people's lives. And so it's important to consider that, thinking, how they're going to be involved in the organization. So we're looking at a bunch of options. Number one is developing relationships with foster agencies, and so we've done a lot of work to discover who those people are and who our connections are, and see what we can do to foster agencies and see what we can do to help along those lines. Where we could also be involved in more visits here, maybe potentially caring for pets, to inviting more volunteers or pet visitors to visit people that we support. Actual pet ownership and what that looks like in reality as far as the commitment from the person who wants the pet as well as from the staff is something we really truly want to explore, and is very, very exciting stuff. And even the thought of, as we started getting into it, we've had 2 meetings, it's exciting and it's fun to think about this opportunity, and we're the kind of organization that would look into that, so I'm excited for that as well. So again, it's a really interesting spin-off, and it's full of pet lovers. If you have any ideas, anything that you'd like to share with me or another member, please feel free to come and talk with us anytime. And yeah, wish us luck, and we'll talk to you soon, and we'll be seeing more Theos here, okay? Thanks a lot.
Okay, we're going to take a short break now.